They say you are what you eat, so I don't eat chicken feet. But I love me some of Grandma's pickled beets. Well, cut it up, put it in the pan, throw it over your shoulder and see where it lands right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Maters, taters, beans and corn, the cows in the barn and the sheep's been shorn, kids in the barnyard chasing Grandpa's chicken. Spices, slices, cuts and dices, gonna slash your grocery prices right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Help you grow your garden good with recipes to suit your mood. Try some grub you've never tried before. Smash it with a wooden mallet, gonna educate your palate. Right here in Farmer's Kitchen, in Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. We're gonna cook something good now.
Hello and welcome to the Farmer's Chow Wagon.
That's right.
Isn't it nice to be outside?
It is, finally.
It's not too hot. It's not pouring rain.
That's right.
As it has been lately. But you know what? We took a trip recently, and anytime that we take a trip, we immerse ourselves in the local culture, the local food culture. What do you think about when you think about the Outer Banks?
Nag's Head, the Wright brothers.
You know what I think about?
What? Fishing.
Redfish, red drum. I think about bluefish. I think about Spanish mackerel. I think about all the wonderful opportunities, speckled trout.
How about the good food there too, though?
Oh, the
oysters,
seafood.
the clams.
Right off the boat.
Yes.
And I think about history, like you talked about. One of the most beautiful places, I think, in the United States on the East Coast, other than Kentucky, you can't beat Kentucky.
That's right.
We went to Ocracoke Island.
I like that place.
And we started talking to folks about what foods are from that area. Some of them old, ancient, some of them, obviously the seafood things, the clams and everything that's around that area and redfish. But we talked to someone named Chester Lynn. He's 10 generations on that island, and his family has been there since the 1600s.
Tell him how we found him, though.
Well, he had an antique store, so
His house was an antique store.
his house was an antique store. So we stopped by to talk to him, and immediately I knew I had found somebody with a brogue accent.
Yes.
He said, "Now, if you go in that room right there on the bed, you'll find something." But then he was talking about a doll or a statue, and he said, "Now that's on her head," and I'm like, It almost sounds like an Australian, some of it sounds Irish. So these people lived on this island and were rather isolated for hundreds of years. So let's talk to Chester Lynn just for a minute, let you hear a little bit of his brogue accent, and then let him tell us about the fig preserves. They grow out figs on the island, and let's talk about making that cake. Here's Chester Lynn. So your family's been here since when?
Since the 1600s. You know, Ocracoke in the early 1900s had 2 millionaires. They hated each other. But in the process of them hating each other, they done, things to the community. One of them hired the local people to build his big mansions on the island. And then the other was from here, and he made life more convenient for people living here. Ice plant, power plant. There was a movie theater in Blackbird's Lodge at one time. Think about that. And they had a movie theater here, but there was a movie theater in Blackbird's Lodge.
Wow. The fig cake, how did that start?
Fig cake is a traditional on the island now. Margaret Garish, one of the island ladies, she took a recipe. I think it was a date cake recipe, and she didn't have the ingredients, so she put preserved figs in it and changed the recipe and put other ingredients in it, and now it's famous. And we have a fig cake cooking contest. Fig cake is a heavy cake. It's not a light and airy cake. Yes. It's supposed to be heavy and moist, and if it ain't, we say if it ain't moist, throw it away.
After talking with Chester for a while, we found out that Margaret Garish was making a date cake one time, and she didn't have any dates. So she took some of the local fig preserves and she made this cake. Next thing you know, everybody's making it. It becomes an Ocracoke special.
Yes.
And it's got to be moist. I mean, they have very specific things they're going to do. So we tried it, of course, while we were there.
I found a book in there. I found a cookbook that had all kinds of different ways to make it. It's fun. I had a good time.
So this is in the family of jam cakes, maybe.
Yeah.
You should say something like that. And you put some cream cheese frosting on it, which is optional.
Yeah, not everybody does that.
Oh my!
And we added whiskey. So let's get this thing going. And here's what we're going to do.
because food, when you're making a dinner, you got to time things out.
Right.
We're going to get this going first because it takes about 50 minutes. So I'm going to shut my mouth and you tell me what we got to do here.
All right, and we're doing it outside, so I didn't bring a mixer. When we were down there, they didn't have a mixer where we stayed, so I used a whisk, and I think it works just fine. So I have my recipe here, and this is a half recipe. A lot of the people down there double this, and they put it in like a 10-inch round.
Like
and
a
flip it out.
bunch?
Yeah, but for us, I remember I tried to make it smaller because I knew you'd eat the whole thing, and I was trying to help you with your weight while we were on vacation. Is that okay?
That's nice.
Okay.
You should
I'm
I
sorry.
suck in?
No, I'm just, we like to eat while we're on vacation. All right. So
All right,
I
thank
need
you very much.
3/4 cups of sugar.
All right.
So we're gonna take that first with our 2 eggs.
All right.
So far I have 3/4 sugar, 2 eggs. This is a 1/2 cup of oil.
All right.
Of course we use olive oil. That is our wet mixture.
When it comes to oil, we've gotten rid of everything. We just use extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
All the time. So I wish you could smell these fig preserves. Figs have been grown on that island for hundreds of years. The sandy soil and the temperatures are just right for figs, and they've been grown there for a long time.
If you want to give me that vanilla right
Vanilla?
there. Yeah.
You need
And
a
I
measurer?
need 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla I'm gonna add in here now. This is an easy cake. I like it. I like when you just mix it all in one bowl, pour it in, and
It's got that, I don't know, that kind of old-fashioned flavor to it.
I know you liked it. All right, now I have 1 cup of flour,
What kind of flour?
all purpose.
Gotcha.
Just all purpose flour. And then I have got 1/2 teaspoon of each of these. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/2 teaspoon of allspice.
Gotcha.
And now I also have buttermilk, and I have got 1/2 cup of that.
Okay.
So this is the part where everybody does it the same, whoever makes it, they kind of like blend it slowly. So we'll just
You
take,
need me to help you?
yeah, if you want to pour it, you be my pour, just a little bit
All
of
right.
flour.
I don't
The
want
flour
to be
mixture.
useless here. Are you good?
Yeah, and now a little bit of our buttermilk.
So a little bit of
Just
buttermilk?
back and forth, yeah. They say go back and forth as
right.
you're making it. This is what makes it so
I'm
good.
telling you what now, I'm not kidding you. Go to the store, find you some fig preserves. If you can't find them in the store, get online, you can find them.
They were everywhere down there. Everybody
It's-
made fig preserves down there.
And you know, if you've ever made a date cake, it's very similar. And I think that's what Margaret was initially doing, but this thing took off. Look at my skills.
You know, when I did this myself, it was harder. I had to stop. You were fishing, so I was cooking alone.
I usually don't help with the baking.
No. See, I was getting nice and thick like a cake.
Yeah,
And we haven't even put the good stuff in yet.
I know. Now, if you have a chance to get to the Outer Banks, we stayed on Hatteras, and we stayed in an area called Slash Creek.
It was a fishing community. That's
It
why
was
you
a
liked
fishing
it.
community.
You loved it.
There are fishing stores about
Is that everything?
every 10 minutes. You'd look up and see a
Yeah, you were miserable, weren't you?
I caught flounder right off the bat. Ended up catching some big redfish.
Yes, we did.
Let's talk to Mr. Revere here and just talk a little bit about the redfish in that part of the country. Captain Justin, you made it happen. That was a good day. I mean, is that a typical day?
Yeah, I mean, we can easily catch some redfish. You know, anytime the wind's blowing, we're gonna have redfish bite. If it's blowing a little bit harder, we might have caught some.
Seriously?
But around here, just about any time, we're gonna catch red drums.
So you've been doing this a while. You said about 11 years down here?
Yeah, 11 years with this boat doing this, and then yeah, before that I was offshore mate for about 12 years.
So that's a lot of years. And you were in the Coast Guard before that.
Correct.
Always on the water.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Now let me ask you a question. I suppose you eat a lot of fish.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you can cut anything up in chunks, and shake it up in
Right.
house archery and fry it, but
What do you like?
I like just simple season, sear it and
Pan
skillet.
sear?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So what's next?
Okay, so we got it all ready. So now, our fig preserves that we bought, that is 1/2 cup
Half a cup?
of the fig
Just
preserves.
all of it?
Put it all in there, yep. That's our good stuff.
Oh, that's something.
And now I also have 1/2 cup of pecans. You could use walnuts or whatever, but I think that's kind of our favorite. And I chopped those up with
How
my
much?
chopper.
1/2
That's a
cup?
1/2 cup, yep.
I'm telling you what, I'm not kidding you on this.
You love this, don't you? And now that's your traditional, but I noticed, being we're from Kentucky, a few people put whiskey in theirs. So I noticed there was one with a 1/4 cup of whiskey, so I thought, well, let's give it a Kentucky flair.
And that gives it a little wang. It gives it a little. It's not going to make you drunk, I promise. And you could use rum too,
Yeah.
being there on the
Oh, yeah.
on the pirate coast. Did you know that right where we were fishing on Ocracoke? Did you know just right south of that is where Blackbeard the pirate was killed?
Really?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
And so all his gabillions of dollars of. Do I pour this in?
Yep, pour that in. This is to
All
go
his gabillions of dollars worth of treasure. I should have taken my metal detector. I'm
That's
sure I could
true.
have found it.
Could have found the magic treasure.
Uh-huh. That's it?
That's it. Now
You
we
can
need our
put it in
pan,
here?
and all I've done was oiled that.
Put a little olive oil in that.
And I got a spatula there. You might have to, we want to get it all in there.
I'll help you dig it out.
All right.
Yeah, it's got a good smell. It's got a unique smell. If you like dates and you like figs, and you like preserves, it's got that, I don't know what you call it, old world taste.
You liked it. All right, now I'm gonna take this, we're not gonna cook this outside tonight, that's okay. In the oven, 325 for 50 minutes to an hour. Don't let me forget about it while we're cooking.
Now you could do this in your Dutch oven, but we want to put it in the oven and
Yeah.
make sure we got quality control. We want it to be very moist.
That's right.
Got to be moist.
That's right. I'm gonna go throw it in the oven.
And I'll get the fish ready. Now, if you know us, you know that hunting and fishing is a big part of our life, and not so much the trophy aspect of it, but when we go hunting or fishing, we want to bring food back to the table. When we go fishing, I typically fish for species that I can bring home and eat.
Good idea.
Exactly. You know, a lot of people fish for tarpon and bonefish and things like that.
Right.
I go for the species that you can eat.
That's
And
why I
wanna-
love you.
Exactly.
That's right, Phoebe.
See, I keep you well fed.
That's right.
So when we were down fishing for redfish, red drum technically, these fish right here got a bad rap for a lot of years. And I think it was because of that name, the drum.
Yeah, they look beautiful.
So what happened in the 80s? Paul Prudhomme, a chef down in Louisiana, said, hey, let's take these and I'm gonna make a blackened seasoning for these. And guess what happened to the population of drum?
Disappeared.
They had to change the regulations down there because people were depleting. Look at this fish. It's
Yeah.
firm fleshed. It is beautiful. It is not fishy. It has a sweet taste. It doesn't taste like, you know, a junk fish. They found out that it's a wonderful, beautiful fish. And next thing you know, people were trying to catch him and eat him just like us. The real problem here was not to catch a 27-inch fish, which is a keeper. The problem was we were catching them 32, 35 inches.
You had to throw them back.
Had to throw them
That
back.
was sad.
So here's a little bit of footage we had out on the boat, and it was just a wonderful day. I have melted some butter. So here is the simplicity. It's perfection. If you've never blackened fish, and this is the perfect fish, I think, to blacken. You can do this with striper, you can do this with any firm flesh fish, but I think this is probably the best species to use blackened seasoning. I'm gonna be very liberal with this.
This is easy. No wonder they ate it all.
Oh, but you know, and you want to char that a little bit. Now you notice I'm getting a hot pan over here. And look how much I'm putting on here, because some of this is going to come off in the skillet. I'm going to put a little bit more butter in there just in a minute. We don't want our butter to burn. And you don't have to do this terribly hot. And if you've noticed, I've got a little gas stove out here. A lot of folks said, well, what if I can't build a fire outside? I think this is an excellent, excellent way to cook outside where you don't have to. In almost any situation, you can use this. So the same here, lots of butter.
That's a big piece of fish.
That is a perfect sized piece of fish. And lots of blackened seasoning. Now that's about what you want it
Ready?
to look like. We're just gonna pop it in here.
Ooh.
Now you can tell that's not super hot, and I don't like to do anything super hot. That's just me, you know me. I don't see any sense in setting off bells and whistles. What we're ultimately going for is about 145 degrees here, which is our fish deal. There's one side, more butter. Oh man, my mouth is watering. You smell that?
I do.
Some technology that we don't have yet. I wish you could smell this. We're gonna make a crust on that other side. Typically, it's gonna be about 2 minutes per side. These aren't real thick pieces. These are trimmed up nicely. We've got all the red meat out there for the most part. So about 2 minutes per side. Cooking outside, there's nothing like it. And the one reason I really like this, oh look at that,
that's
just
nice.
look at that. The one reason I really like this fish, because if you notice when I flipped that over, it didn't come apart. It's a firm,
That's firm, yeah.
firm fish.
We got more in the freezer.
Oh, I'm so happy. All right, this is blackened redfish
Yummy.
to die for.
I can't wait.
Now, something that I like along with a blackened seasoning fish is a corn relish. Now, along with this a little bit spicy dish, this brings in that vinegar and that
Oh,
sweet and
yes.
that red pepper. It just really accentuates that wonderfully. And wait a minute, before we taste it, I know what people are saying. How do you make?
Corn relish.
Let's show you real quick. What we're going to do now is take some of our corn that we've cut off and make this pickled corn, which is delicious.
It is.
Now, if you've never had pickled corn, think sweet pickles kind of solution with the turmeric and the celery seed and the vinegar and the red peppers. You get a wonderful taste.
And sweet corn in it.
And sweet corn, obviously. All right, so we'll do this together. I'll try
12
not
ears
to
of
spill
corn.
it.
Yeah.
And this is some fresh, wonderful sweet corn.
And we boiled this, blanched it, kind of chilled it, and I cut this off the cobs.
It's hard not to eat it right there.
I ate a lot of it already.
I know you did. I watched you.
I know. I can't help it. I can't resist it. I'm gonna use my chopper because it makes everything easier.
You know what? I really like a red pepper in these, a sweet red pepper. I think it really lends itself well
So mainly
to
red.
the recipe and the end product. I mean, look at that. It just looks pretty. And the celery in there gives just a little bit of crunch.
Well, we need about a cup of pepper, so let's see if we can get a cup of this.
So we're almost to a cup, so we'll put a little bit of this yellow in there. Now, did you know that red, green, and yellow peppers are the same pepper at various stages of their life?
So they all taste the same?
When you pull them off the vine,
They're just pretty.
they're beautiful. And that is the beautiful bell pepper.
All right, there's our pepper. Now, if you want to give me some onion, we want about a half a cup of this.
Half a cup of onion.
Celery. Some people put cabbage, but we
Yeah.
like celery.
You know, I think about cabbage more as a green relish type thing. And it's gonna have a little bit of green in it, but that celery kind of blanches out. You don't see a whole lot of green in there.
Just gives it a nice crunch.
And a nice taste. Celery really works well with that.
You know, this is kind of like your mom's chow chow. You can use whatever combo you want. She's always said that. Put in what you like. As long as it gets up to about 2 cups. And there we got 2 cups.
Now look at that.
Pretty
It
colors.
already smells delicious. You ready for some
Yes, so now you have your 2 cups of vinegar and half a cup of water in there.
vinegar?
Yeah. There's actually a cup of sugar right there for you too.
Cup of sugar?
1 cup of sugar. That's a lot of sugar, but that makes it good.
It's a preservative.
That's right.
So we need a half a tablespoon of salt. We're gonna go a half a tablespoon of turmeric. Heart healthy turmeric.
Yeah.
And what an interesting, wonderful taste that brings.
And here's some celery seed.
Half a tablespoon of celery seed. 1 tablespoon of dried mustard. Once we get this up to a little boil, we go
Let's go 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Now that smell right there, that's what I remember
It smells
in
good.
Papa's kitchen, in Mom's kitchen, that pickled, wonderful relish smell.
Oh yeah.
So we have completed our boil. I take a little funnel. We're gonna fill our jars up.
Yummy.
And you know, you're gonna leave a little headspace there, just a little bit. I wish you could smell this kitchen. I absolutely love pickled things. I love preserves. Now I'm gonna put the tops on these. We have cleaned the tops off to make sure that there's no blockage at all. All right, so we're gonna set these in here. Put the water over the top. That's gonna go for 15, 20 minutes.
That's right. And we're gonna have some good stuff.
Yum.
Yummy.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
Now here's a little secret. When you put your water in, put a couple tablespoons of vinegar in it. It'll help keep the tops clean. Sometimes I get a little white pasty stuff on the top. This will help with that. Make sure this is to your liking.
Corn relish.
Isn't that good? It just reminds me of Papa Harlan's table. He always had some sort of relish.
My grandfather did too. Always had relish. That was the thing you did. I could just sit and eat that. Delicious.
All right, Mrs. Farmer. Dig
That looks so
in.
good. Oh wow. That's nice and peppery. That fish is amazing.
That fish was made to be
Oh,
blackened.
that's so good.
There's nothing better than blackened fish. Now you can blacken catfish, you can blacken trout, but my favorite is this and striper. That's delicious.
That's delicious.
Well, we ought to eat this and come back with our secondary meal that's very popular there. How's your cake coming along?
It's doing good. It's got a little more time.
Okay, I'm excited about that. All right, let's have another bite. All right, we've cooked our clams. We got about 24 clams over there. We're letting those simmer. We turn those off. Those cooked in about a cup of water. So you don't need a whole lot of water. Then we kind of steam that.
Yeah.
All right, let's take the clams out.
Okay.
Over here, let's reserve about a cup and a half
Okay.
of our clam juice. So we're gonna take the clams out, put them on here, dig the little clams out, and we'll cut those up. We'll mince those up.
Okay.
This is Jane the Clam Lady's recipe for a clam linguini. So
Yeah.
easy, right here on your plate. It's easy to do. Buy you some clams at the store, and you can go to town on this. Take some of our butter. Go ahead and put in that pan. And we're not exactly level here, but it doesn't matter.
We're outside.
We're outside.
Do you want some garlic?
Yes, I do. I love a little garlic press because it's automatic. It's out there. It's already in small pieces. This is some whole grain linguini here. We're gonna put some salt, some pepper, and some flour.
Thicken it up.
We're gonna thicken that up. I'm gonna put a little more butter in there too.
Good idea.
Can't stop me, I'm out of control. Now I'm gonna mix this up. And meanwhile, we've taken a little basil and we added what we like in here. A little basil, a little oregano,
Fresh.
fresh, and some parsley. And just probably, if I had to guess, half a teaspoon of each. That's fresh. So we're just gonna get that going a little bit. So we're gonna take our cup and a half clam juice, some heavy cream, about half a cup of that. So we got 2 cups altogether. I'm just gonna pour in here. Now that flour
Yummy.
and that will begin to thicken up. 1/4 cup of wine, white wine, that's a Chardonnay. We're gonna take our clams, put those in, along with a little more parsley. And remember, we put some fresh basil and fresh oregano off of your stash out back.
That's right.
So look what we have here. Jane the Clam Lady's recipe from Ocracoke Island.
This is right from the Outer Banks, the clams.
Look at this,
Yummy.
a little Parmesan cheese. If you want to squeeze a little lemon on top of that, you could.
Want me too?
I'm trying not to look at that cake.
Turned out perfect, didn't it?
It's beautiful. But what do we have right in front of us, Mrs. Farmer?
Can I go ahead and have a try?
You can. I know how you
Oh,
love
my
your
goodness,
pasta, and I know how
do.
you love clams.
This is like a 2-course meal here you gave me. This is pretty good.
The fish was just a starter.
That was my appetizer. Mm-hmm. Your sauce is amazing. Really good. Nice and thick. It's really delicious.
Wow.
The wine makes it taste really good too. It gives it that little bite.
Anytime you're doing seafood and you have lemon, you have butter, and you have cream,
Oh, wow.
you're gonna have something special.
I'll eat this while you eat the cake.
That's
amazing.
a beautiful thing. We're gonna turn the camera off. We're gonna eat a lot of this. Our daylight's fleeting, so we have to put some icing on that cake.
Yes, we do.
So we've got your cake. It's still warm.
Sat for
Oh,
half
you
an
can
hour.
smell
Oh,
it.
it's perfect. Look at that, perfect.
Little cream cheese icing. And what do we do here?
I have about a half a container of cream cheese and half a stick of butter, about 4 ounces of each. I'm just gonna add some powdered sugar till we get it where it looks good. And you know what? Here's some cream. You wanna add a little cream for me too?
You want me to? How much is that?
I'm just gonna pour a little until it looks good.
Do you want all of it?
No, just
Just
put
a
a
little
little
bit?
bit. Yeah, I just kind of make
Heavy
it till it looks
cream?
good. Yeah. All right, let me see what that does.
No calories.
No calories. I like making icing where you just kind of do it till it looks good. Okay, stop there. This might be perfect. We'll just
Okay.
the sugar. Heck, you could put a flavor in here if you want, but this cake doesn't need it. You want to put icing on your cake?
Oh, I want you to.
You sure?
Oh,
I know you like to.
Oh, would you look at that?
It's hot, so it's just kind of going to be all. It's not going to be pretty. It's just going to
You
be.
act like you've done this before.
It's just going to look. It's going to be tasty.
You don't need a huge amount of this.
No, you're not even supposed to have this.
Can I have first
You
bite?
can, because I know you're going to.
I gave you the first bite of linguini.
That's right. Because I know once this goes in the house, you're just going to get a spoon and eat right out of this, aren't you?
Whoa. That's special.
How do you describe that? That's like everything.
That's special.
That's everything.
It's
good.
so
Oh,
moist. Some people might not like figs, but I bet they like this.
Oh yeah.
But first of all, what would happen if you're out and about and you were shopping to buy some fig preserves and somebody said, Mrs. Farmer, how do we find those recipes? What would you say?
I would say timfarmerscountrykitchen.com.
That's what I would say. Funny. And there's also this Facebook page that we have, but it's a very hard process to get on our page. How would you do that?
You hit like.
Oh my goodness,
it's
that's
really
not that
hard. That's right.
So I guess we're just gonna have to cut another piece of this cake because this one's been sitting out too long.
Oh, yeah.
I'll finish that up.
Okay.
And then cool another one out because it's all about
Good times.
good friends.
And really good eats.
We'll see you next week. We have been catering for a lot of years, and I wanted everything to have a specific taste. Therefore, I had to come up with my own products.
Right.
A dry rub, chow chow, and our barbecue sauce are something that we use in all our catering gigs. I developed this barbecue sauce that is not the really thick, syrupy stuff that you get. This has more of a natural, it's got some pepper and onion flavor in it. You can actually see the particulates in there. You know, a lot of people are asking what we use our dry rub on. Now, obviously, pork and chicken are two of the more common things. Also, we've been using on our corn on the cob with butter.
That is.
I'm telling you, this
That's
stuff
wonderful.
with potatoes is fantastic. So 40 years in the making, Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen Dry Rub.